Welcome to the London Free Press Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Gilbert. Today we're talking about Budweiser Gardens, which has brought in a lot of tourism revenue to London over the years, but it needs some upgrades. A lot of them, in fact, to the tune of $33.3 million. So today I'm talking with London Free Press reporter Jack Moulton about why the upgrades are needed, who's paying for them, and what Londoners get out of it. Hi, Jack. How are you?
I'm good, Rachel. How are you?
I'm good. We're happy to have you on. We know this is your first podcast here with us, so thank you very much. And I know you're covering City Hall right now, so let's talk about Bud Gardens. What are the upgrades that they need to be doing there?
So the upgrades will be taking place in two phases. The first phase is on the docket right now, while the second phase might be in a couple of years.
Okay.
City Council's planning for it to take place over the 2024-2027 period in that multi-year budget. But the
Okay.
first phase will consist of what's the city committee referenced as sort of revenue driving upgrades. So stuff like improving the lounge, the multi-purpose event space, some of the technology in the arena, improving the London Knights dressing room, which even the manager of the arena itself said was sort of lagging behind in OHL standards.
Oh, okay.
Private suites and food concession areas, some of those items, and that will total around 15 million for that first phase alone, with the city expected to foot 9 million of that bill.
Okay. And then the second phase starts 2024. What's involved in the second phase? What will they be working on then?
So the second phase has been referred to as kind of the back of the house renovations.
Okay.
So shying a little more away from that revenue driving stuff, expanding the event space, renovating some of the offices, kitchens, and bars, upgrading audio video, some of those items. And that second phase will cost around 18.2 million, and the city is expected to pay 17.7 million.
Okay. So in total, the city is going to pay, of the 33.3 million, the city will pay the 26.7 million. And that's about an 80-20 split between the city paying 80% and the company that owns Bud Gardens paying 20. Is there a reason why the city is paying so much more?
So the city treasurer explained during the committee meeting on Tuesday that the 80-20 split was how the agreement shared between the company and the city was initiated when the building first went up and that lease was put together. And so that was kind of the starting point for them, given that they're roughly halfway through the lease, which I believe is expected to run until 2052.
That we just haven't changed it over the years.
No, and yeah, the city treasurer sort of said, if that was council's desire to try and change that, she didn't really dismiss it outright, but said, that might have an impact on the work and the negotiations going forward.
And what's being done. Okay. Where is this money coming from? How is the city paying for this? Because we all want to know, as taxpayers, it's coming out of our pockets, right?
That's right. So the money would be borrowed by the city and paid back through the Tourism Infrastructure Reserve Fund, which is financed by the municipal accommodation tax. So if, let's say, you come to town for a concert or a game that you watch at Bud Gardens, you're probably staying in a hotel, and you get charged a tax for that hotel stay, which helps redirect money back into that fund, and that sort of goes towards tourism focused ventures.
I see. Okay. And then will we be like, what will we make back in this? Are these upgrades? I think a lot of people are questioning if they're necessary, first of all, and are we going to recoup this? Like, is this going to bring in more revenue for us in the long run?
Yeah, so according to the reports that the committee looked at on Tuesday, it estimated that the city could see up to potentially a $53 million windfall during sort of the latter half of this 50-year lease as a result of these renovations. And part of that is due to the fact that over the course of the lease, the city's share of the revenue increases. So in the first 5 years of the lease, the share of revenue was 20%, 6 to 10, 45%, and 11 all the way to 50 is 70%. So that's sort of, and that drew some sort of similar questions from the committee yesterday saying, because the report said during the first half of the lease, the city made approximately 7.8 million. And then, jumping to 53. So there was a bit of question around that. That's one of the reasons. And the city treasurer also pointed to the last 3 years of COVID bringing in $0, as part of that shortfall.
So nobody made money during that time. So this is going to cost us 33 million. It will cost the city 26.7 million, but then we will make over the next 30 years 53 million. Are those numbers right?
Yeah, according to the report, granted, the city treasurer said it's an estimation, subject to change a little bit, but that's certainly possible.
Some city councilors did have concerns, of course, at the committee meeting about the amount and what is being spent on, I guess, too. What were some of the concerns that they were voicing?
Yeah, so in particular, Ward 6 councillor Sam Trossow put forward a motion at the committee meeting on Tuesday asking for the report that was put together by KPMG, requested by him back in June, I believe. Just first of all, to see the report, because the committee meetings did not receive the report. They sort of pulled select pieces of it to help
give information.
Exactly. And so first of all, he put forward a motion to receive the report and in light of that, to perhaps delay phase one of the renovations until that 2024-2027 budget, just to have all the information. Another point of concern for not only him, but Mayor Josh Morgan was at the committee meeting, despite not being a member. There were a couple of concerns raised around a new agreement between the city and the company
that owns Bud?
that owns Bud Gardens, where it was basically a new agreement around revenue sharing for food and concessions, of which the city would see a little piece. The agreement was put forward that basically for the remainder of the lease, and committee members sort of raised an eyebrow and said, that's a big commitment.
It's a long time,
roughly 30 years. So should we cut that down maybe? Is there a risk in that? So Trossow put forward as part of his motion to limit that to 5 years. And the final part of his motion was to limit that food and concession agreement to 5 years. Committee members didn't actually second Trossow's motion, so it didn't go anywhere.
So what did they vote on? What did they vote for at the meeting? What's the motion that's going forward to full council?
So as part of that, they accepted the findings of the report and will basically sort of gave their stamp of approval. But the matter will still have to go before full city council in a regular meeting before it goes anywhere.
Right. So what are the next steps? This is going to go to full council, I guess. When is that?
Yes. So this will go to full council on October 17th, where at least the first phase will be voted on. While the second phase will be decided in the 2024-2027 multi-year budget.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Jack, for joining us today. We're definitely going to watch your reporting on this and your update on probably October 18th at lfpress.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel.